The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, and once again, welcome to our monthly updates done by Recann and XABS. This month we have the usual stuff, so let me jump into it. Our disclaimer as usual. Now let's quickly sorry about that. Whoops, my mouse is not. Okay. The format for those of you who have not joined us before is that we try to hold some QA as we go along. So if you have a question, type it in the QA window. Try and keep it short. We'll try and keep it to 1 to 2 questions per section. We'll also keep the answers short. If you need to dive deeper, we will. Sorry. Okay, if you need to dive deeper into anything, contact us and we can take it offline. There's a survey which we appreciate you do. Here's the URL. About an hour after the session, you'll receive an email where it's there. It's a way of you helping us make sure that this suits your needs. So we appreciate it if you do it. Materials. There is here in the handout section, you can get a PDF copy of the slides. So just go there, download it if you want them. And there will be a recording available on our YouTube channel a few hours after the webinar is done. So I'm going to bring in Recann this week. We have Martin, and
hello, Louis.
Yes. So tell us.
Hi everyone. Welcome to July's Dynamics 365 webinar. To quickly introduce myself, I'm Martin Raby. For those of you that I haven't spoken to before, I help with both delivery and resources within the Microsoft Dynamics team here at Recann. For those that join in here for the first time, and before Louis begins providing you with the updates from Microsoft this month, I'd like to give you a quick overview of Recann on our services and how we can potentially help you, the companies you're working for. We operate from 2 offices in the UK, both London and Manchester. We have global coverage within the Microsoft Dynamics market. We provide both consultancy and permanent resource to aid both implementations, support the Microsoft Dynamics suite of technologies. As a business, we challenge the norm and try to add value. We help host and deliver complementary training workshops with XABS in order to address the skill gaps within the Dynamics market and develop a deeper understanding of the market we recruit within. We believe this provides with a distinctive advantage over some of our competitors. Recann is an APSCO approved consultancy which is seen as a badge of quality within the industry. To achieve this status, both our clients and candidates are fully reference checked. For a full overview of the services we provide, please follow the link on the screen. Louis, can you take me through to the next slide, please? Right, quick updates for news this month. We recently hosted a dashboard in a day workshop focused on Power BI, which had over 80 attendees from a wide range of clients, a few of which have recently implemented Dynamics 365. Our next workshop will be discussing the topics of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So please get in touch if you're interested in attending this next one. As always, you will find information about live jobs on our website. However, please do get in touch if you want to discuss your future pipelines. Any information regarding market news, whether that's salary, rate surveys, information about what's in demand in the market, please do get in touch. So I hope you enjoy your webinar. Back over to Louis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Martin. So back to me and something short about XABS and who's presenting. So this is me, I think most of you already know. We've done more than 40 training workshops for Microsoft together. So with the other guys at XABS, we together have 12 implementations of D365 Finance and Operations. We train the Microsoft partner technical architects, and we train Microsoft staff, partners, and also end users. We're a team of quite experienced people. Everybody's MVPs, MCTs, and MCPs. And we are headquartered in Switzerland, even though we come from all over the place. And Martin, I'm going to ask you, because Lasse doesn't see the screen. Do you see my screen? Sorry to interrupt everybody, but hello. Can somebody confirm if they see my screen?
Louis,
yep.
I can see your screen, but it's still on the first slide. I don't see that any slide has been modified.
That's strange. See, I've probably, I have a question here. I still see the initial account, so it's not, there are other people confirming that they're only seeing the first slide. I have no clue what's going on.
Maybe you should stop the screen sharing and get started again. It's probably frozen.
It might be, because, okay.
Oh, now it is moved, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see my face.
It was frozen. Thank you. So that was about me. Sorry about that, everyone. Some other people that are working with XABS, you probably know quite a few of them. But yeah, you can put some faces on names. And thank you to Francesco, who also called my attention to that the screen was frozen. Some news about us. This is not really news because you already went through this the last time, but we are still in the process of revising our workshops to make them more specific and more focused. We have one out on role-based security, and we have one also just on lifecycle services, and we are working on some more. Our list of clients, if you look at this, you will see we have been adding a few clients recently. So things in terms of adding clients, it's looking good. So to some tips and tricks. We have been going through security reports. This was a whole set of tips and tricks, and this is the last one. And this comes along, and we got to this because a lot of people had questions, and that's why we ended up doing the role-based security training. Had quite a few requests and a lot of questions regularly about role-based security. In system administration inquiries, security data, there's a security data assignments report, which is quite useful, particularly if used in conjunction with the others. The important thing here is this can involve quite a lot of data and take some time. So either use the filtering capabilities that comes when you print the report to filter out just the ones you're interested in, or run it in the background so it doesn't load your system too much. But basically, the important part about the security assignment, it gives you a view of all the duties contained within a role. And then there's a whole bunch of information, as you can see here on the screen. You can expand by clicking on the details, and the useful thing about it is there's an explanation of what each duty is. That makes it easy for human beings to quickly understand what sort of duties are in a role. It's quite useful if you're working with role-based security. And that was our tip for today. So moving on, LCS updates. The interesting thing is the release 1 LCS update. I'm putting it on screen for you to see. As you can see, there's an update, but it really is just states that they've made some performance and reliability improvements, which was basically what happened in the previous month in May, but there are no details about which areas, so we don't know any more than that. That's what's there. Yes, they've just continued the work they did in May with improving the performance in several areas. Now let's look at the platform updates. Probably oh, sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. There's a release 2. Now it seems like it's regular that there are two releases per month, and in release 2 there's some, actually I find it useful because I do a lot of managing infrastructure. The cloud host environments page is what's been updated. The environments are listed alphabetically. Now, this used to be that they were all just put in any order, and every time you refresh the page, you get a different order, and then you had to visually search through the whole page to find an environment, and this is for cloud-hosted environments. This actually showed up in May, and I didn't say anything last time because I was waiting that maybe it was going to be announced, but it hasn't. So it just sort of got in there when it's never been announced, but it's nice now because you get things listed alphabetically, and so when you're looking for environments, it's a lot easier to find it. And it's there every time in the same relative position, so you always know where to look for it. Now, what was announced, and is that as you can see on the screen in the red rectangle, you can export this list to a CSV file. So if you need to produce some kind of hard copy documentation, you can export it into a CSV file and then put it into the documentation where you have. We don't recommend it because, of course, anything you take out of LCS and you change anything in your environments, you're going to have to go through this. And keeping different documents is usually a waste of time. You have all the information in LCS, so stick to that. But I guess some people might want to export the information, so it's there. Those were really the only 2 updates. Well, the first one was not really an official update, but these are the only 2 things that have shown up this past month. Platform updates is the next thing coming up. Now, as you will see here, they're still on PU 15 from March, so there really hasn't been anything. They've actually updated the page very recently, but that was just a page on Microsoft Docs that's been updated. There have been no platform updates. And application updates, same situation. We're still on 8.0. There have again been no updates, so as you can see, last update was from April, so not much happening. I guess everybody is getting ready for summer vacation or something. So not horribly much there. On-premise updates, and here we have the same situation. Nothing really has happened there. We're still on 7.2 with platform update 12 from March. That's where it's at. So no news, nothing happening on that front either. Custom engagement updates. So now we're going to dive into what is the CRM functionality, not the finance and operations, as we are also covering this. And I've wrapped everything under customer engagement. And here there's quite the same situation as we've had with finance and operations. The latest updates are really from May. There has been nothing new that we are aware of in June. Talent, which we were also covering. Again, we are more or less the same situation without horribly much happening. As you can see, there were 2 updates. One's the Recann payroll integration, which is now available. It's not generally available though. It's still on public preview, as you can see. And this was from the 1st of June. And the Recann payroll integration is available in the UK. Again, still public preview. So if you're using that, you can request have access to the public preview, and you can start working with it. And that basically covers what's been happening on the talent side. Now, in the Visual Studio and VSTS, and it's mostly in VSTS, there's been a lot of stuff. So let's dive into it. Any questions anyone has? Anything they would like to ask? Today is going to probably be quite a short session because there haven't been many updates. So, and I don't see any questions. So I'll forge ahead. VSTS updates. There is the UI. There's a whole new navigation. This is look and feel and stuff has been reorganized. If you go into VSTS, you will see that you'll have a little navigation pane, big design, which I've marked over here in a red rectangle, and you can choose to do it. So right now it's in preview, but eventually you're going to get it. So my suggestion is start to get used to it, turn it on, and start using it. On the right side of my screen, you can see what the new UI looks like. I've talked to some people about this. Some people like it more than others. So it's a matter of, I guess, personal taste. Some things seem to be a little more handy, and there's a few more things which I'll show you in specific areas. But it looks cool. It's a slightly more modern UI. And so let's look at the first part. There are new work hubs. And the new work hubs, as you can see, they're marked in the blue rectangles. They give you quick access to different functionality. So when you're in your backlogs, for example, and this is generally part of the new design, so it's not just restricted to the backlogs and work items, and that makes it easier and a little faster for you to navigate and get around. If you want to see the details about this, then you download the PDF, you can see the URL and use the URL to go and read a little more about it. Then we have the query hubs. And this one has a whole lot of stuff again. There are keyword filters, as you can see up in the picture. You can start typing in, and it'll automatically start to filter out the results. That's nice because it'll immediately filter as you type. Breadcrumbs, which is what you can see in the one below, is if you click on basically the bar over there with the path to where you are in the different parts, you'll see what you have under it directly there. So in terms of navigation, that's a little faster for you. You can start to bookmark folders too, so that you can create your favorites. You get your favorites queries. There's a fast path to it in there, so you used to have to be able to go all the way to queries, and now that's been improved. It's save as now copies charts. So if you have a chart, you could make it into a new query by doing save as. There's the expanded work item filter options in the results grid, so that gives you a few more options in terms of filtering in the results grid, and access to who last ran the query. And interesting for people who have tooling or are working on tooling that works with VSTS, that's now available over the REST APIs to it. I'm not going to explain this, but I'm sure if you're using this stuff, you know more or less what it is. And again, if you want to go to the URL and you can read the details about it, if you see any stuff here that's interesting for you. And Next update. Also quite a lot of stuff on the build and release. And the one important aspect about this is you must have the new build result page preview feature enabled if you want to do this. So if you want to use this stuff, which is actually quite useful if you're doing DevOps, go and enable it. But it allows you to pass environment variables to tasks. Which is quite nice because before it was a little more limited what you could specify directly in there. You can ignore release gates. So if you have release gates, you can actually ignore them for deployments. And you can set variables at release time. So you can actually dynamically set variables depending on different conditions. Now, some of this stuff is it's not that straightforward to do, but it does give you the ability of everything not being done up front at configuration or setup time, that you can set up stuff and you at runtime when you actually do the build, determine what the state of things is and decide what you're going to do there. You can organize your release definitions in folders. So basically, previously release definitions were all just one flat list of all your release definitions, and now you could group them and make it easier if you have a lot of release definitions to drill down into them and not get lost in them. There's an improved Windows remote PowerShell-based task, some more commands that you can do directly from PowerShell. And then there's a whole bunch more stuff, which I didn't find particularly relevant to Dynamics 365, so I haven't included it in there. Sorry, Edward was asking a question, and I seem to have missed it. There are service updates for CE release 3. So Edward's question is, there are service updates for CE service release 3.0 available. Okay, so I guess that's not a question, it's just informing us that we missed that. And he has a URL to it. Okay, so that's on the Dynamics CRM online releases. If you go to the Microsoft Dynamics CRM online releases Dyn 0, you should be able to find it there. So thank you very much to Edward for the information. So back to the presentation. So lots of useful stuff in there, and then there's even more which I'm not covering, but now you know if you're doing DevOps or working with VSTS, you might want to go investigate this. But there's also there are also updates in packaging, so you can use upstream sources and legacy fields, and you can use arbitrary public NPM feeds as upstream sources. So that means you can pull stuff from these streams. Now, testing. Improved experiences in the test tab, and you can see this is a list of the things. So you can view the execution of in-progress tests, which is nice if the testing takes if you have comprehensive testing, you can actually see how far you're in your testing while it's running, if you have automated testing. And you can see the debugging details in full page also. You have a history, and if they get aborted, you can also see that stuff, all part of the new stuff for testing. Reporting, I haven't actually seen this, but excluded items completed before a certain date in analytics views are now reported. You will see that. That's just adding information to the analytics views. So if you're using analytics views, there's a little bit more information there. And apparently it's easier to navigate to the dashboards. As I said, I haven't seen this, so I'm not really sure what that really brings and what's in it. And the authentication get notified for PATA expiry operations. I haven't seen this either, but I assume that instead of you having to check, there's some mechanism in there that will tell you if they expire. And now we get to PowerBI updates. So you see, there wasn't horribly much this month, but Laz is going to take over now, and he has quite a bit on PowerBI. Laz?
Hello, hi. All right, do I have control? All right, okay, let's go back then. That's too much control. All right, let's go with the PowerBI updates. This month's PowerBI updates are for June, the updates, so they still haven't released the July PowerBI updates, taking account that this can happen anytime now, even today, but it's possible that maybe something will be delayed. So these are the list of all of the updates that happened with the PowerBI June updates. We see that we have something for the reporting part. There are some custom visuals, some modeling, some data connectivities, and there's something else in the modeling department. So in the Power BI, in the reporting, now if you're using the high contrast mode in the Windows settings, the Power BI reports will respect the color palette that you're using. So, and when you're using the Power BI desktop, Power BI automatically detects the high contrast theme that you're using, and will apply the same colors across the report. This is similar to the experience that it's used amongst all of the Microsoft products. You know, Microsoft is really trying to push this Microsoft One. So the settings that you are pushed on your local OS. On your local PC should be reflected in your all of the other Microsoft products, in the whole product range, in the whole Office 365, and as well reflected to the Power BI. For example, if you have the same scheme in Excel, you will have it here. In the Power BI service, Microsoft will also try to detect which theme you're using automatically to apply the same theme to the report. But this depends on what the browser that you're using, of course, and depending on the of the security that you have set it up. So maybe you don't allow those permissions to be shared. So if you want to change the theme manually, you can select it like from the menu on the top. You can go to the high contrast theme under the view dropdown. Just take note that if you're using high contrast theme on the Power BI desktop, you'll still see some of the areas of the product that are not using these themes of the colors. They will be adding more support. As you know, this is the first batch of support for the high contrast, so there will be more updates so that the product is much more polished than the first round. Sorry, I think I didn't follow up with the slide there. All right, so this is what I was talking about all the time now. Sorry about that. So you can see the high contrast support for the reports. If you have the high contrast theme on your Windows PC, it will try to automatically the Power BI desktop will automatically try to detect it and send the this high contrast theme on your Power BI report. And this is how manually you can select this high contrast. So in the view drop-down, you have the high contrast options, and you have a couple of them, and you should check this out. Okay, let's go back. So other part in the reporting is the donut radius control. This is the first formatting update of the month, is the ability to control the inner radius of the donut chart. And this lets you to make the donut slimmer or thicker to get the style that you want. I think it was a requested feature in the comments or in the inside PowerBI.com. You will find this option under the shapes card into the formatting pane, and the pie and donut details label collision is Microsoft is updating the pie and donut charts so they can support moving the detail labels inside of the donut. So you can pick between forcing the labels to always be outside or to be inside, or to prefer one position over the other position. So if you choose to move your labels inside the pie or donut chart, you can also choose whether the text can overflow past the edge of the shape, and if the labels have a background or not. So this is kind of tips or tricks and details that you were not able to control it in the previous release. Let me see if this works. All right. In the custom visuals, there is a new custom visual, the organization chart. This lets you to create a tree view of your data. You can give each node a name, you can give it an image, an optional link to every node of the tree, and when you click it, it can navigate you to a particular place, to a particular link. The tree is created by giving each node an ID and its parent ID, and the visual will use it to create the tree layout. There are several formatting options here, such as the node color, orientation, and label formatting. I think this can be quite useful actually for some organizational charts, as you can see. For example, pulling out the HR data from Dynamic 365, and you can plug it in here. Try it and send us email if you have some questions about it. There is something about the China heat map, which Microsoft released something in the previous release, which was the China color map. And this month, this release, there is a China heat map as a visual. So if you're using geographical data from China, you can try this Chinese heat map custom visuals. There are a lot of features there, like offline maps, or one-click switching between a national China provisional maps and regional formatting, etc., etc. It's not very interesting if you're not working with Chinese data, but as the people who work with China, this can be very, very useful. I don't. So the Adobe Analytics connector has been available as a preview connector since last year, and now is generally available. And the Adobe Analytics connector can be found in the Get Data dialog under the online category, and there is also improvement of the SAP HANA connector on this release to enable users to explicitly select the port that they want to use, and so on and so on. So if you're SAP HANA user for Power BI, this can be quite useful for you.
Oh, Lasse, there's a question.
Sorry?
There's a question from Abhishek, and he asks, can organization chart functionality be used for business process modeling? Do you have an answer to that?
No, I don't think that it can be for PPM, because this, as you know, it's only as data and it's only as a visual. Well, you can use it in a way that you can connect it with links that will link it directly to the PPM. So each organizational chart, each tree node here can navigate to a specific link, and if you link this to some PPM, then yeah. But this is like a a tips or trick. It's not directly. You cannot use it directly.
Okay, thank you. Says Abhishek.
All right, so there is some modeling. There's a new addition on filtering and sorting in the data view. So for every column in your model, you can now see the sort direction that is applied on that column, and either filter individual vectors or using advanced filtering options for that column time. Microsoft are vastly increasing the number of specific locals that are supported for formatting when viewing the report in the Power BI service. So with this last update, they are adding a support for total of 670 locals. Louis, can you mute yourself, please? I can hear you. Thank you. For example, you now can see the support for Mexico's variant of the Spanish, along with some other Spanish variants. We know how complex is the real world, so it's never it's never like Spanish or German. I had a bad experience with that with the German in 365 a couple of months ago. So in the desktop, they can detect and use in the PowerBI desktop application, the application will automatically detect and use the date, time, and the number formatting that is set up on your local PC, and this can be quite useful, as you're aware, because the number formatting is different from country to country and region to region, so it can be dot or comma, and whatever you have set in your formatting in the operating system, this can be automatically loaded into the PowerBI desktop application. Of course, you can after that change it, but by default this will be the formatting it's going to be used. Internet Explorer and Edge will pass this same OS local true, but the other browsers have this information. Usually, it's forbidden. So depending on the security that you have set up and the region settings, this is the same as for the setup in the reports for the theme, in the high contrast theme, depending on which browser you're using and the security settings that you have, maybe they will be not automatically selected. Starting from this month, the SAP BW connector now supports a new implementation option, which is like a label 2.0, I think, or 3.0. And if you're selecting implementation 2.0 in the SAP BW connector dialog while creating a new connection, it will switch you from using the SAP client driver to a new SAP BW driver developed strictly from Microsoft. And this can smoothen up the things quite a lot. And I've read that the people that have a lot of experience with SAP, this helped them a lot. It's much more easier and faster now. And if you have more, if you need more info about this, please contact us or read about it online. There are quite a lot of details about this, but as it is not connected too much about Dynamics 365, we will not go into details about it. And that was about it, about Power BI. And Louis, you can take over again.
Very much, Lasse. This month, as I noticed or remarked in the beginning, is a little short. There were not a lot of updates. So if anyone has any questions, any further questions, this time to give them to us. Any further questions? I'll give you a few seconds. I think I recognize most of the people who are on today, so I'm not going to run a poll. And I think we're covered now. Before we leave you for this month, just to remind you that Edward called our attention to there were actually updates to customer engagement, and he entered the URL in the questions where you can go see it. So if you're working with the CRM functionality, please go and check it out. I don't know why I missed it, but I will include whatever is in there for next month in case you don't have the time to go check up on it yourself. And I guess that sums it up from us. Martin, do you want to say a nice goodbye before we close for today?
Yeah, thank you, Louis. Hopefully you've all found today's webinar useful. If you're working on a project or implementation and you require additional consultancy resource or training, please get in touch with either myself or Louis. And as a small favor, if you would be grateful enough to share any posts of the webinar online in order for us to help share this information to the wider Dynamics community, that would be great. And it also may be an idea, if you're happy to share our page, that would be very, very helpful as well. But thank you very much for joining us, everybody, and have a good weekend.
Yes, thank you, everyone. This is summer vacation time, so I assume a lot of you will be going on your summer vacation. Enjoy it, and we'll see you again in August. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.